All right, I am installing a new radiator. I've heard that this is inappropriate, but this is a Mishimoto radiator, just a Chinese knockoff AC condenser and a Dorman transmission oil cooler. Problem I'm having is I need to mount fans. I want to do an electric fan conversion. I don't have a great way to do it. I've got 3 fans down here ready to go, and so I got a piece of sheet metal here. This is, I believe, 14 gauge. Just measured my dimensions, got my 3 fans on there, place to drill holes. So we'll go ahead and cut this out and we'll go from there. Got the main dimensions cut. Just gonna make sure this fits in here how I want it to. I have to grind these edges a little bit. It's fitting a little bit tight. Let's see. No, it fits in there. So that's the plan. I'm gonna give it a little bit of space because I'm gonna put the tabs on the bottom to fit into those, which will give it about, I don't know, ½ an inch or so. So a gap about that big. Excuse me, in there. Then I'll mount those fans up, and I might put a piece at the top here just to kind of box that in, or maybe like a rubber, something to line it with rubber or something to keep the suction going through the radiator. All right, we got the bulk of it cut out. I did like octagons roughly, or whatever, multi-sided shapes there. I'm gonna go and take a grinder and see if I can get this into roughly circles. Even though this is probably fine, airflow would be fine, I'm gonna do it anyways. All right, that took a lot longer with a grinding wheel and a flap disc and a cutting wheel to make this circle nice and round than it would if I had a plasma cutter. But I've got 1 down, 2 to go. All right, here we go. All right, took quite a while, but 3 out of 3 done. So there she is. I'm gonna go ahead and I need to figure out, put some tabs on this, top and bottom, to get it to seat well in here. I know my camera work's gonna be super crappy right now, but it's gonna go in there like that. My 3 openings for my fans. I just want to get my tabs put on the bottom so it'll fit into those notches down there. There's 4 of them. And then I need some tabs that come up here, go across and give me 2 holes to put through these bolts through, and get the spacing just right, because I don't want the fans right against the radiator. I want them a little bit off so that it'll pull air through the whole radiator, not just through the 3 circles. So I'll work on that now. All right, got this guy just kind of smoothing all the edges. I'm ready to start making brackets. Got my little cardboard mock-up here of a bracket. It'll just kind of hang over the edge just enough that I can weld this onto the top of that. I'll make 2 of them that are the same. I made sure this fit on both places, and it does. We'll get to going on that. All right, just finished one. It's not perfect, but it will work. Nice snug fit. Just like that. Time to make one more. All right, got 2 mounts made up, and I got this marked, some blue marks where the bottom and top mounts are going to go. And I'm just going to cut this into 3 pieces, weld them to the bottom of that, weld those mounts on the top, and see if it'll fit. All right, that's what we got. There it is. 3 tabs welded on the bottom. 2 brackets welded up on top. And it fits in quite well. It's not the easiest to do with one hand. It did warp a little bit, of course, when I welded it. To be expected. But that makes it a little tricky to get it on with one hand. So anyways, let me get it on. All right, there it is. 2 brackets, 3 tabs. It looks pretty good. Now, I'm gonna get those rubber isolators in there and bolt these down. It flexes enough that it could touch if it was really flexing, but I think it'll be a little bit more rigid once the fans are in there. If I need to, I can weld a piece across here to prevent that, or maybe even just a bolt on a little rubber bushing or something right back here to butt up against that. Maybe that's what I'll do. But otherwise, I think it's good. I'm gonna cut this excess metal off here. You can see I burnt through twice on this. Oops. But let's cut that excess off on both of those and drill some holes, mount up the fans, and go from there. All right. I got holes drilled for the fans. I mounted them. So there's the 3 fans mounted. But I am worried because when the screws are installed, the bolts, see the backs here? They are, I mean, maybe a 1/4 inch from those fins. And so I'm gonna put some sort of rubber spacer here and here in these 2 places to prevent that from being able to contact those fins, because I don't want that to rattle around, make noise, and then eventually it could damage the fins or maybe even cause a leak. So I don't want that. So I'm gonna run to a hardware store and see what I can find. Hopefully some really small rubber things that I can either adhere or attach with a bolt to this, something like that. All right, I got these little rubber bumpers. They were in the automotive section at the local hardware store. My concern is temperature. So I've got my soldering iron set at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is way hotter than my radiator should ever get. And it's not melting. So I think I'm gonna be good to go. All right, we got the holes drilled and the edges rounded or chamfered or whatever you call it, so we can insert these. And I got these trimmed, not completely cut, but I left basically the weld, so I've got those trimmed and smoothed out. And I'm just gonna take this wire wheel, which is pretty sad, needs to be replaced. But anyways, take that wire wheel, just kind of hit the whole thing one time real quick before painting it. And if things go well, next time you see it, we'll have it painted and fans installed, and we'll stick it on there. All right, got a coat of primer on it. That's what she's looking like. Pretty good so far. Get some black shot on it real quick, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, grab my light real quick. I got this guy painted. Did 3 coats of black. 3 coats, I think it was like 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of black, something like that. But enough that it should be able to take some minor scratches without getting some rust forming. I bent these brackets. These brackets came with the radiator. It's to connect the radiator and the condenser at the top. So I bent those so that they would work and primed them. I'll paint them in a second. And now I'm just cutting threads on these posts that didn't come with any threads. It's aluminum, so it's really easy. And then I'll reuse these wannabe nuts. I don't know what you call these. They're nuts, but they're barely nuts. And hopefully those will thread. If not, then I'll get some like nylon or something, some high heat nylon nuts to secure. This is the condenser, and I'll just attach the condenser to the radiator. All right, I think we might just about be ready to put this stuff back together. So I got these aluminum posts threaded, put some blue Loctite on them. Got blue Loctite put on these guys as well. I haven't put on the radiator yet, but I will. Got these guys painted black. I already showed you that guy's painted black. So now it's time to go ahead and get everything put back together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the fans mounted to the shroud. Get some blue Loctite put on all 3 of these posts on the radiator, both sides, and get it all put back together. All right, finished product. There it is, all 3 fans installed. I got my rubber stoppers on there. Time to put it in. All right, here it is fully installed. As you can see, I got some new hardware, washers, lock washers, nuts. There it is. See my little rubber spacers in there, or rubber stops, whatever you call them. Nice and firm now. I feel pretty good about that install. Happy with it. I'll go ahead and see if I can get my brackets put on here, their hardware. Still gotta connect the upper radiator hose. Plug in my wires. I've already had another shroud over here for 3 fans that didn't work with this new radiator. So I've already had these 3 fans running in this Jeep. These 2 fans kick on when the ECU turns them on when the engine gets up to operating temperatures, and if it gets hot, then this 3rd one will kick on. So they connect in different places. These 2 connect here, and this one connects over here, and that's how that works. All right, it's in. All is said and done. You probably noticed I've altered this cross member here for a previous install, and it turns out I needed it altered anyways for this, but I wouldn't mind picking up a new one of those at a junkyard at some point because it's pretty beat up. Anyways, got that all in. Go ahead and get the fluids put in it and give it a start and see how it does. All right, she's steaming away. I had a little bit of a spill, but you can hear the fans going in there. It's up to operating temperature, so both of these 2 fans are going. That one over there is not yet. But yeah, she's been running for 5-10 minutes, and fans just kicked on. So let's see what our gauge says our temperature is. Just a little under 210. Nothing to complain about there. 195 is what the thermostat's set at. So there it is, fully installed and running. Thanks for watching. I'll be doing quite a few more videos on this Jeep in the coming weeks and months, so subscribe if you want to see those.